Warm greetings. Welcome to Swayam Online Learning Portal. I am Dr. S. Ishwari, Head of the Department of Geography, Madras Christian College. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about jet streams. In this lecture, we will be discussing on local winds. So, what are all the contents we are going to discuss in this lecture? That is, what are all the types of winds, what is the importance of local winds of the world, and what are all the characteristics of local winds and what are all the significance of local winds. So, these are all the contents we are going to discuss in this lecture. What is meant by the types of winds? That is, what are all the types of winds? The winds are classified as primary winds, secondary winds and local winds. So, in this primary winds, we have the trade winds, westerlies and easterlies. So, this primary winds we have discussed in the lecture. So, previous lecture we have discussed in the planetary winds session. So, the secondary winds. So, the secondary winds comprises of monsoons, which we will be discussing in elaborate in the upcoming sessions, and then land and sea breeze, mountain and valley breeze. This land and sea breeze and mountain and valley breeze we have discussed in all the lectures. So, somehow or other this have been interconnected with all the atmospheric and earth processes. And next one is local winds. The local winds is also known as tertiary winds. So, this is also known as tertiary winds. This local winds are small scale winds which caused by regional temperature and pressure differences. So, this primary winds are global scale, the secondary winds are regional scale, and this local winds are what? It is a local scale, it is a small scale prevailing winds. These winds are local in extent and are confined to lowest level of the troposphere. So, it is not about the troposphere, it is confined to the troposphere. So, this local winds have the major types, that is periodical and non-periodical. In the periodical, we have land and sea breeze and mountain and valley breeze. So, you may wonder that you have categorized this local winds, that is periodical winds, land and sea breeze, mountain and valley breeze in secondary winds. But imagine if it is going to be a wind blowing from Himalayas, so how we will be confined? It may be a region, Himalayan region, but it is inside or it is within the Indian subcontinent. So, it may also influence us in the local winds. So, this is known as a periodic winds. So, the next one is non-periodic wind. So, this wind is the wind which we are going to discuss in elaborate way, that is it have further classified into hot winds and cold winds. The hot winds are Chinook, Fawn, Santa Ana, and cold winds are Mistral, Northers. This is not stopping with this categories, it have lot of in the world there are lot of hot and cold winds. How this hot and cold winds are prevailing? Hot winds mainly prevail because of the influence of the that is a torrid zone, the tropical zone. So, we know that there is a excessive heat and the pressure will also influences this local winds. Mostly this wind blows in summer. And then if it is going to be a cold wind, the cold wind is influenced or it is confined to polar region, that is higher altitudes. The polar regions mainly in winter time this cold winds have been confined. So, we can categorize the local wind based on the temperatures as well as based on the continents. How these winds are categorized we will be discussing in upcoming slides. Local winds they also operate in limited area. So, and compared to the which is compared to the global winds. This local wind is confined to limited region, it is not globally distributed, it is confined to a small region, small area, local area. It often influences the terrains like mountains, valley and coastline and other water bodies which is located in that particular region, that is local region. It occurs daily or seasonal depending upon the heating pattern. So, how far the heating is there, it determines whether it is a cold wind or it is a hot wind. It strongly modifies the local weather. So, the local weather is modified, local temperature is modified by this local winds. So, the local wind types and characteristics have been classified here for your convenience. So, there are list of local winds with their names in this column, and the nature of wind in second column, and which place it is blowing, which locality it is blowing is given in the third column. That is Chinook. It is also known as snow eaters. It is a hot dry wind. Where it is confined to, it is blowing in Rockies mountain. And Fawn, it is a hot and dry wind, it is blowing in Alps mountain. Kamsun, it is a hot dry wind which is blowing in Egypt. And next one is Sirocco. This Sirocco is a hot moist wind which is confined to Sahara to Mediterranean Sea. The next wind is Solano. The Solano wind is a hot and moist wind which is blowing in Sahara to the Iberian Peninsula. The next local wind is Harmattan. It is a Guinea doctor. It is also known as a Guinea doctor wind. It is a hot and dry wind which is blowing in West Africa. And the next local wind is Bora. This Bora is a cold dry wind which is confined to Hungary to North Italy. Next one is the Mistral. It is again the cold wind which is blowing in Alps in France. The next local winds are Punas, which is cold and dry wind which is blowing in western side of Andes mountain. The next one is Blizzard, the local wind which is a cold wind which is blowing in tundra region. The next one is Purga. This Purga local wind is a cold wind which is blowing in Russia. Next is Levanter. It is a cold wind which is blowing in Spain. Next local wind is Nor'wester. It is a hot wind which is blowing in New Zealand. Next one is the Santa Ana. It is a hot wind which is blowing in South California. Next is Karaburan, that is a black storm. It is a hot dusty wind which is blowing in Central Asia. Next local wind is Kalima. It is a dust laden dry wind which is blowing in Saharan air layer across the Canary Islands. Next one is Elephanta local wind which is a moist wind in monsoon season which is blowing in Malabar coast. So, these are all the few major winds which have been listed. So, this is most important to note because in the competitive exams it might be asked in the match the following, or it might be asked in the orders by giving the region name, locality name and the wind name. You have to that is order these winds, local winds, and then which locality it is blowing. So, make a note of it. The first and foremost is the Fohn wind. It is also known as a hot wind which is blowing in Europe. This European continent, this hot dry winds is blowing in Alps. It is some wind will be a beneficial one for that locality and some wind will be giving a very adverse condition for that locality. That is, this Fohn wind is a beneficial wind for that particular region. It is a strong, gusty, dry and hot wind which is blowing in leeward side. So, in the previous lectures we have discussed about the orographic influence, that is the wind which is blowing, the uplift of the wind which is blowing along the mountains, and in this uplift what happens? The warm air rise and produces the clouds and produce the rainfall in the windward side. So, here it is a windward side, and again while it is climbing up at the top of the mountain and descending towards the opposite side, which is known as the leeward side. These winds will be very much helpful for the crop cultivation, especially the citrus varieties of fruits. So, this fohn wind is also one kind of it, one of its kind, that is that is this strong gusty dry hot winds in the leeward slope. What it will be doing? So, it will be giving a sudden melting of snow and helps the winter agriculture, that is ripening of grapes and animal grazing is supported by this wind. So, while we discuss about the wind, that is most important to know the direction of the wind. So, this wind, so where it is located, that is in the Europe, that is fohn wind is located here, this is blowing here. So, the direction is from south to north. So, this is the direction of this wind, and the temperature varies between 15 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius. 15 degree and 20 degrees Celsius is the temperature of this local wind. The next wind is the mistral. The mistral is opposite of this fohn wind, that is fohn wind is hot wind, the mistral is cold wind which is blowing in Europe. That is, it is a strong cold wind from Alps to Mediterranean Sea. So, it is from Alps to Mediterranean Sea it is blowing, and see here it is a harmful wind. The fohn is very much beneficial wind, but this mistral is harmful wind for that particular locality. It is channeled through the Rhine valley. So, in the Rhine valley this winds have been channelized, and it is very cold and dry with the high speed. So, the speed of the wind will be very high, and it affects the agriculture and vineyards. So, because of the severe cold and the velocity of wind is very high, it affects the agricultural activity of that particular region. The direction of this mistral wind is the northwest to southeast. See here, that is from northwest to southeast. So, this is the direction of this mistral wind. So, it brings the blizzards into the southern France and occurs mainly in winter and spring season. So, the cold wind usually associated with the winter season, and this mostly winter, and sometimes it is also associated with the spring. So, this mistral is associated with the winter and spring season. The next wind is the Bora. It is also again the cold wind which is blowing in European continent, that is the cold and dry gusty wind. It is commonly blowing in which season? That is, it is common in winter season. It blows from the mountains, that is the central European highlands to Adriatic Sea. So, you can see here from the central part, the central highland, the wind is blowing towards the Adriatic Sea. So, from highland towards the sea region this wind is blowing. So, what is the direction of this Bora wind? The direction of the Bora wind is northeast to southwest. So, here you can see the northeast to southwest direction will be the direction of the Bora wind. It causes the rough sea condition which is dangerous for the ships. So, for sailing the ship this wind is not very much supportive, it is causing a very adverse condition in this sea region, that is the sea will be very rough. So, due to that this Bora wind is a very rough sea condition which produces the dangerous dangerous condition for the ships. So, the sailing in the ship during this blowing of wind is not advisable. The next one is Levant. It is a hot wind which is blowing in Europe. That is, it is a gentle, moist, damp, hot air. So, this one originates from central Mediterranean Sea region. So, this Levant is blowing from central Mediterranean region, and the direction is from east to west. So, here from east to west is the direction of this Levant hot wind, and it blows in Spain, Strait of Gibraltar region and southern France, and frequently it brings clouds and rain. So, why it brings clouds and rain? Because it is originating from the Mediterranean Sea. So, it carries all the moisture from that sea, and while blowing, what happens? It gives rains to the traveling region. So, this is the main reason for the frequent cloud formation and rain in this region. The next one is Helm, that is the cold wind of European continent. It is strong, stable, cold northeasterly wind which blows from northern polar region of Europe and the Scotland towards the England. So, you can see Helm here. So, from here it is blowing towards the England region, and it's also traveling in the southwest slope of Penis in England. So, this is blowing towards the England from Europe, that is especially in the Scandinavian part. So, it is blowing towards the England region. So, in such a way the travel pattern of this Helm wind is recognized. The next one is Etison cold wind Europe, which is prevailing in European continent. It is also a cool and dry summertime wind. It blows from the high pressure ridge over the Balkan towards the Aegean Sea, Greece and adjacent region. So, this Etison, which is blowing from the high pressure ridge. So, here you have the ridge. So, from the ridge this wind is blowing towards the Aegean Sea, and also it is blowing in the Greece part, and then the nearby adjacent area is also witnessing this Etison cold wind. This brings the soothing effect to the summer heat in the region. So, some wind is favorable. So, this wind is also favorable because the hot region is somewhat altered by this Etison wind by its smoothing effect. The next one, we have covered the major winds of European continent. The next one is the North America. What all the local winds blowing in North America? The important one is Chinook. The Chinook is a hot wind. So, it is also similar to the Fohn wind. Why? It is also having the orographic effect. So, this wind is in USA, blowing in USA and Canada. It is also a beneficial wind. So, the hard dry wind on leeward side of Rockies, that is the western slopes. So, we know while we consider the physiography of North America, so we can witness the Rocky Mountains in the western region of North America. So, this Rocky Mountain, the wind from the water bodies which will be rising here, that is ascending ascending warm air, and it reaches the top, and again it is descending here in the leeward side. So, this is the main pattern of this wind. It is very much similar to the Fohn wind. So, because of that the Fohn wind also supported the agricultural activity. So, here also this Chinook is also very much favorable for the ranchers. That is, it is beneficial for ranchers in the east of Rockies, as it keeps the grassland clear of snow during the much of winter. In the winter season it's very much clear because of melting of snow. So, this is the most favorable condition in that particular region. This wind blows from southwest to northeast in the western North America. So, Chinook, you have that the wind is, here is the Chinook wind. This wind is blowing from southwest to the northeastern part of this western America. It is also known as snow eaters due to sudden melting. So, because of warm condition which prevails here, it melts all the snows of this leeward side. So, it is known as snow eaters. Next one is blizzard. Blizzard is also a cold wind which is prevailing in North America. So, this cold violent polar wind creates a severe storm or total whiteout. So, severe storm, that is cold storm, will be prevailing in that particular locality because of this blizzard wind. The high, it is also a high speed wind, snow filled winds which is blowing in winter. The winter season is most favorable for it to form the very cool condition, that is the snow glacier formation. So, this wind blow from northeast to southwest direction, that is the blizzard is blowing from northeast to southwest direction. So, here you have the blizzard wind. So, from due to the pressure differences and cold front, this situation prevails. This gusty wind, cold wind prevails in this locality. It blows in Canada and northern central USA. So, this was the region which is experiencing this blizzard cold wind. It is also dangerous for the transportation. So, while traveling in that particular region during this wind, it is not advisable. The next one is the Santa Ana. So, this Santa Ana is a cold wind. It is a strong, extremely dry wind from mountain to coast. So, the from mountain to coast, this wind is blowing, and it originates cold wind, but becomes hot and dry later on. So, once it start, it was cold, but while traveling it loses its characteristics and it becomes a warm. So, here you can see here this Santa Ana wind is blowing. It is blowing from the that is the high pressure region, that is Great Basin in USA. From Great Basin it is blowing towards the water bodies. So, because of that, this it loses its characteristics while it travels. It occurs in autumn in the northeast to southwest direction. So, this wind is from northeast to southwest. So, this was the direction of Santa Ana. The next wind is the norther. So, the norther is a cold wind which is blowing in North and Central America. So, this norther is blowing here. So, this wind blows in the region of Canada and USA along the Pacific coast. So, in the Pacific coast it is blowing along the coastal region of the Canadian and USA region. The next one is Norty. So, the Norty is the wind which is again a cold wind which is blowing in North and Central America. This Norty is also a strong cold wind which is blowing in northeastern region of Mexico along the Gulf of Mexico region. So, here it's the wind is blowing in this Mexico region. So, it is also a cold wind. The next one is the South America. The next we have completed with the North America, Central America, and then now the South American cold, that is wind, local winds. Zonda. So, Zonda is a hot wind which is prevailing in South America, especially in Argentina. This is a hot dry wind descending eastern slopes of Andes, that is especially in winter. So, here is the Zonda. So, this Zonda is in the eastern slopes of Andes mountain. It is similar to the Fohn wind. So, if there is a orographic effect, the most of the winds we can witness with the help of the locality which have the high altitudes, that is mountainous region. It blows from Pacific towards the western slopes of Andes, which causes the rainfall in that particular region. It is also experienced in Argentina, Uruguay region. So, the region which has experienced this Zonda is Argentina and Uruguay. The next one is Pampero. It is a cold wind of South America. So, this Pampero cold wind is from Andes to Pampas. So, it is a temperate highland and grassland region. So, Pampas grassland region. So, it is blowing in that particular grassland region. This blows from south north direction. So, here you can see south to north the direction of this Pampero. It causes a sharp drop in the temperature and is often followed by thunderstorms. Significantly, it affects the cattle ranching. So, cattle ranching is affected because of this wind. So, it is not a favorable wind, it is adverse, it is giving an adverse effect in this region. It is experienced by Argentina, Uruguay region. The next one is Sirocco wind. It is a hot wind. So, So, we have completed with the South America. Now, what are all the local winds of South America? Now, we are getting into the African continent, Africa. That is Sirocco, that is hot wind is blowing in Africa. This hard, dry Saharan Mediterranean wind, Sahara Mediterranean wind, which is harmful effect, which gives the harmful effect. If it is going to be a Sahara, it is a desert region. So, it will be very hot. So, there will be a dusty storm will be there. So, it can reach hurricane speed. So, the speed of the wind is also very high. The velocity is very high in this region. It transports hard, dry tropical air northwards. So, this that is Sirocco is transporting in northward. So, you can see this Sirocco wind here. Its direction is from south to north. So, from south region to north is its direction, and it is a dusty dry condition in the North Africa, and it storms over the where the Mediterranean Sea. So, from here desert region it is travelling towards the Mediterranean Sea. So, brings cool wet weather in Europe. Sometimes it produces the blood rain due to the dust deposition. So, it is gathering all the dust along with it. So, because of that dust and because of the humidity in the nearby water bodies, it produces the rain in that particular locality. Because of the dust content in the water, the rain looks like a bloody condition. So, it is known as blood rain. Next one is the Harmattan. It is also a hot wind in Africa. So, you can see that if it is going to be a high altitude, it is a cold wind, and if it is going to be a tropical region nearby equator, it is a hot wind. The hot and dry dusty wind which is blowing in winter season. So, it originates from Sahara region, it is blow from northeast to southwest. So, this Harmattan local wind is blowing from northeast to the southwest region, and it causes the dust storm. So, because of the desert region, the wind which is blowing in this region usually brings the desert storm. It brings the soothing effect to the humid condition in the southwest part of Africa, hence it is called as doctor's wind. Even though there is a hot condition prevailing here, sometimes it is giving a soothing effect in that particular region. It is favorable to the particular locality, and it is also called, because of that, it is a doctor's wind. Next one is Haboob. It is a hot wind in the Africa continent. The Haboob is a wind which is a non-directional wind. This wind have no direction. It will be circulating as how the wind blows. So, it have no direction. So, it is a hot and dry violent wind, have no direction. It blows in Sudan and east of African region. So, this was blowing in the Sudan region and eastern part of the Africa. It causes the storm, that is dust storm in this region. The next one is Berg. This Berg is a hot wind in Africa. So, it is in this region. This hot and dry wind originate from South African highland region towards the west coast. This direction of this wind is from west to east. So, this was the direction. The next one, we are coming to the Australia and New Zealand continent. That is the southerly wind, it is a hot wind. So, southerly wind is blowing in Australia. It is a gusty wind flowing along the Great Divide Range. So, while we look into this Australia, we can witness the central and the western part of Australia is mainly distributed, covered with the desert region. So, because of this dry condition, this is a hot wind which is prevailing there. This blows in spring and summer season. This wind is blowing in spring and summer season. It brings hot dry weather condition in that particular locality. The next is the brickfielders. So, the brickfielder is again a hot wind. It is also dry in condition. It is blowing in the central desert region of Australia towards the southern coastal region. So, from central it is blowing towards the south region. So, this was the direction of this wind, that is from north towards the south is the direction of Brickfielder. The next wind is the nor'westers. So, the nor'westers is prevailing here in the New Zealand region, that is it is also similar to the Fawn wind. If it is going to be similar to Fawn wind, what are the characteristics? That is orographic effect. So, because of the ascending of air, descending of air, so that process will be prevailing here, due to which altitude, which mountain, that is Southern Alps. So, the Southern Alps which is located in this region, which is most important reason for this nor'westers. This hard dry wind is peculiar to eastern region of the New Zealand. The next one is the Asiatic local wind, that is Buran. So, this Buran is a hard wind. So, you can see the location of Buran. So, it is a hard dry wind which is blowing in summer season, and it is bringing what? That is the sandstorm in this region. The direction is northeast to southwest. So, here you can witness the direction of this wind. During the winter, it blows as a cold dry wind and causing blizzards in this region. So, even though it is originating in summer, the characteristics changes in the winter season and bringing blizzards in this particular locality. The snow laden Bura is in the Siberia, that tundra region of Russia. It is called as Purga. So, each and every region, when it travels, the name is different. In the Russia, it is called as Purga, and it enters to Alaska. While it enters to Alaska, it is called as Burga. Next one is the Yoma. So, Yoma is also a hard wind which is blowing in Asian continent, that is it is a hard dry wind which blows in the Japan, that is Japan archipelago. So, this Japan archipelago have this Yoma hot wind. This direction is from northeast to southwest. So, the direction is northeast to southwest. Next wind in the Asia is the Karaburan, that is it is a cold wind which have been found in this locality, that is it is a strong cold desert wind which brings the dust storm in this region. It blows in central and eastern Asiatic part. Its direction is the northeast to southwest. So, the direction is northeast to southwest. It affects the visibility in that particular region, which is associated with winter fronts, which impacts the caravan and travel. So, this wind affects the transportation in that particular locality. Next one is in India, the most important hot wind is Lu, that is the plains of northern India and Pakistan experience this Lu hot wind. It is a harmful wind, extremely hot and dry in summer in the northern part of India. The direction of this wind is from northwest to the southeast. Southeast, it also blows from the west in the month of May to June. It is mostly in the mid time, that is afternoon. It rises the temperature drastically between 45 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. It causes the sunstroke, dryness to the people, and it also affects the dust storm. It brings the dust storm, it associated with the dust storms. What are the significance of this local wind? So, this local wind has that is a hot downslope wind, that is Chinook, Fawn. So, these are all the winds which helps the crop growth and early maturity. They brings rainfall and moisture for the ripening of fruits. The onshore wind which cause the rainfall, which helps in the uplifting of air. Hot air, that is in the periodic shower which recharges the local water bodies such as rivers, lakes and reservoirs. Due to this, the water bodies are recharged due to local winds. They moderate the climate by reducing the temperature extremes. So, they smoothing the effect of that particular locality if it is going to be adverse in condition. It influences the local cyclone and wind pattern. So, the influence of it is also most important in cyclone and the wind pattern. it plays an important role in regional weather and climate. So, overall the micro level climate, the local wind is much transferred, much influencing the not only the local region, but also the global level climate. To sum up with the entire lecture, that is, the local wind results in localized temperature differences causing the air to move between land, sea and mountains. The common types are sea and land breezes, valley breezes and mountain winds. They are brief, change frequently and shape the local climate and weather pattern of that particular locality and globally also. Hope you understand the concept of local winds. In the upcoming lecture, we will be discussing about El Nino, La Nina and ENSO. Thank you.